Hey, so I just got back from seeing the Queen movie, Bohemian Rhapsody. It's my little ticket stub. I collect movie ticket stubs, by the way. And it was really some movie. I was really blown away. It's been amazingly successful so far. So it had an original budget of $52 million. And now it's already grossed $176 million worldwide. And 65 million of that was domestic. And it had a just stunning opening weekend of $51 million. So it's a big super success. It stars Rami Malek and is directed by Bryan Singer. Some little interesting fact about Queen that I read: did you know that every single member of that band has written a #1 hit? Let me know if you know of any other bands where every single member has written a #1 hit, because I can't think of any others. So just letting you know before you continue watching, there will be some spoilers. I wanted to discuss some of the main themes of this movie. Believing in yourself against all odds, connections, awesome rock and roll, and discovering one's sexual identity. And speaking of closets, I was inspired to go into mine and pick out an outfit and dress up as if I were going to an actual Queen concert. And unfortunately I couldn't find my boa, so I have my most boa-like scarf here. And let's see what else I have. Here's something Freddie didn't have, a Fitbit. Now I bet if he had a Fitbit, he would have easily done 20,000 steps at a show. There's my little get-up. Don't know what happened to that boa. Maybe the cat did something with it. The first theme, believing in yourself, takes me to my favorite scene in the movie. It's when the band was having a heated discussion with EMI executive Ray Foster, and they were pushing for Bohemian Rhapsody to be the first single. And Ray Foster was just not having it. He wanted "You're My Best Friend." And Freddie and the band, they were just adamant. They knew what the single had to be. And I won't spoil the scene for you, but let's just say that "You're My Best Friend" ended up being the second single. And Bohemian Rhapsody was actually released as a single on Halloween 1975. And funny thing was, I saw Mike Myers' name in the credits, and I was looking for him all around that movie the whole time. I figured, where the heck was Mike Myers? And then afterwards I looked on IMDb and I saw he was actually that EMI executive, Ray Foster. It shocked me because he was in... They put some good makeup on him, because I'm somebody that's good with faces, and I did not notice it was him. But just another fun fact, Mike Myers is actually a huge Queen fan, so it was a really big deal for him to be in the movie. Next thing that really struck me was the theme of connections in the movie. Connections with friends, lovers, fans, family. And Freddie had a very deep connection with Mary Austin, who he had a 7-year-long relationship with. And, you know, when she's introduced in the movie, they just have this magnetism, something to me that was so much bigger than just a sexual connection. And that's why even after they broke up, they still remained friends for years and years. And I just got the feeling from the film that she knew about his queerness even before they got together. One of the first things she does is she starts putting eye makeup on him. I I'd like to read a little quote that I found that Mary Austin gave to the Daily Mail in 2013. She was talking about Freddie, and she said, "He was like no one I had ever met before. He was very confident, something I have never been. We grew together." And I think those two sentences just say so much, that it seems that Freddie wouldn't have been who he was without Mary, and vice versa, and that they were a real team. I really believe that their failed romance was only a failure because of the pressures of heteronormativity. If that underlying pressure wasn't there, I think they would have easily been able to maintain that intense platonic relationship without it getting so complicated. But, Freddie was still figuring out who he was, like a lot of people are, and he was discovering that he was queer during one of the scariest times in history, when it was to figure that out during the AIDS, HIV epidemic. So you have to put that all into perspective when looking at this film, and I'm actually kind of happy that they didn't show him suffering and dying of that, because I think that would have made it more of a sad movie, and I'm glad that they focused on the music and the energy and the happy parts of his life, and I think that's what he would have wanted. One of the greatest moments in the film is when he's confiding in his bandmates, and he's telling them about his diagnosis. And he's so passionate about the music, and despite getting a death sentence, he says, "Guys, I don't want to focus on that. I just want to do what I was born to do." And wow, does he do it. And I just think it was beautiful how that scene ended and Roger told him that he was a legend. And it made me think of a beautiful book I read years ago by Audre Lorde called The Cancer Journals. Another really touching scene for me in the movie was when Freddie was at his parents' house in England with his partner Jim, and they asked Freddie, "How do you two know each other?" And he bravely took Jim's hand and he said, "This is my friend Jim." And there seemed to be a look of acknowledgement from Freddie's mother. And I just was in awe of his bravery there, the courage that must have taken at that time in history to do that in front of his very conservative Pakistani parents, very strict parents. And that was just a perfect scene. One thing I loved about this movie was all the footage of cats. Around here we always get so much footage of cats. It's pussy galore around here. Aww. He's purring. So I wanted to show you a little more of my get-up. The best part, the bottom part. And also I'm going to show you what's underneath it. If I can zip these off. Hurry up. So, here are my brand new David Bowie socks. Got them at Target. And I got Aladdin Sane socks there too. And wait a minute. God, this thing is like a corset for my boobs. Let me get this thing off a second. I can sit down like a normal person. Enough of that. So I was talking about David Bowie because Queen and David Bowie have a special connection. Actually, they did the duet together, Under Pressure, and it's a funny story about that song that was actually accidental. That Queen was recording that song and David just happened to stop by the studio and joined in, and that's how the duet happened. Barry and I are very much looking forward to January 11th, which is the date of the David Bowie tribute at Union Transfer in Philadelphia. And our talented friend Phoebe Legere is going to be part of it, and she's actually going to be singing Freddie Mercury's part in Under Pressure. And in addition, she's going to be singing 5 of David Bowie's songs. So we're very excited for that. Back to the movie. So I was just talking about Bowie, and I was thinking about these flamboyant rock gods, Bowie, Mick Jagger, Freddie Mercury. And actually, early on in the movie, when they showed Freddie, the Freddie character with long hair, he did resemble Mick Jagger to me. Rami Malek portraying Freddie did with the long hair. I don't think Freddie with the long hair actually resembled Mick Jagger, but I thought the actor did in the role. So that was kind of interesting, and there's a lot of overlap with all those guys, and brings to mind, did you know that Mick and David used to do the dance? According to Angie Bowie. As soon as Freddie took on his more famous look, that Village People-esque look with the short hair and the mustache, I thought at that point, I thought he really nailed it there, and costume and design, really fantastic job. I was just thinking about one of my favorite lines in the movie was when Roger and Freddie were having a little argument, and Freddie quips at Roger, you know, there's only room in this band for one hysterical queen. Probably the most climactic scene in the film was the Live Aid footage. The filmmakers on this movie reenacted Live Aid. I don't think many people of my generation or younger maybe even knew what Live Aid was. I was familiar with it, even though at the time I was in my mother's belly, but I've studied a lot of music history. And I just think the filmmakers really captured just how epic Live Aid was. The footage they showed of the crowds just rocking, and you just felt the momentum and the energy. It was like you were really there. I'd like to see these filmmakers actually film a real live concert film, because it would just be awesome. I liked how the filmmakers dedicated so much time to Live Aid. It wasn't just a quick clip of "We Are the Champions." It was a good 5 or 6 minutes of footage, and the film really captured just how huge Queen was. I mean, they really felt like royalty. And there were over 1 billion people watching Live Aid. I mean, just unbelievable. Another scene I really enjoyed was in the very beginning, when Freddie first goes on stage with Smile, which was the first incarnation of Queen. And he takes a hold of that mic stand, and he's yanking it, and he's trying to get comfortable with it. And he actually grabs it with so much force that he turns the standard mic stand into a bottomless one, and he's strutting around with it, and he's struggling to get comfortable with it and how to hold it. And to me, it was just an obvious phallic symbol, which was hilarious and brilliant. How he's walking around with this thing. And I wonder if that was intentional, but if it wasn't, it's just the perv in me. And this movie was so focused on the music, which I love, but there were also some really beautiful scenes in it, like at the very end when Freddie is on stage at Live Aid and he blows a kiss to his mother, and that was such a beautiful scene. The cinematography, the acting, the costumes, everything was just so well done. I think we could all learn a thing or two from Mr. Mercury. What a star. And I think this film was really well done. A perfect biopic. And I hope it helps extend Queen's legacy.